Hello, my name is Anthony Wall. This is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. I was in the Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center towers the day of the attack, and the night before, I noticed the names involved there are ones who also forced Saudis to collusion, and we know that the Saudi attackers forced collusions too. The difference of that was is also consciously recorded use. WFSB, WTNH, and Fox Connecticut News have been planting evidences in identity thefts and frauds to prevent the right outcomes in cases as their rules with collusions on all natures of crime scenes and campuses and next to all those spots and next to parks. A whole bunch of people tied to former mayors of Weathersfield increasingly have timed collusions with names associated next to and at body dumping spots and all sides of criminal and civil cases, including in the Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center towers the day of the attack. They have judges and prosecutors from and people that work with the Britain Superior Court and Hartford courts that have been refusing to identify themselves legitimately or to put anything in paper. They confess, recorded, demonstrated, confirmed. They're going to pretend other, but they know too it's recorded. They put fake things in databases, and they prevent writing so they could stack fake writing in the courts to build on having done that since I was a kid, not just against me. A whole bunch of people from the Britain Superior Court and Hartford courts affected confessions to me and to others and requests for help before the World Trade Center attack. I didn't know then. I found out later. It's tied to people with former director of the FBI and his Robert Luskin in his defendant capacities, former standing chairperson on the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, and his defendant capacities with his co-defendants are increasingly timed collusions with child defenders, leaders of kids, identity theft, fraud, slanders, and falsified police reports, wire crime acts, and methods that involve the police forms and the courts fabricating and changing, totally fabricating phone conversations and digital emails, and then changing the ones that are actually recorded. That's why they're forging and switching names. They confess they confess names while they're doing that. And, they're trying to make problems seem like they're between people. So there's a Smith family and a Cololo family that lived near me. And all sides of everyone's house, they're playing games since I was a kid with the Weathersfield Police. Like the Smith family has a whole bunch of people on the Weathersfield Police Department, where they are now and where they used to be, involved with their mother and themselves and their campuses and where they work, like Stop and Shops in Weathersfield and Rocky Hill, involved with this Jamie Smith and other managers of that store since before it was Stop and Shop. And the spots next to it are people involved increasingly planting evidences on off the campuses I went has something to do with their roles there. In the corners of streets, like the corner of Town Line Drive and Southstein Highway, same people involved with predicate acts at the corner of Church Street and Main Street in Old Weathersfield. And that's right next to the founding locations, which is also relative. We're relevant where we have other things, others ourselves, blamed where our founders told us to blame the breaching method that was entrenched. In other words, slavery, for example, sickly distinctly against everyone, and sickly non-distinctly was left out because it was entrenched north and south, and still we have other communicated about that than our founders communicated for us to communicate about that. Both the North and South had roles with those entrenched crazy laws against every single person. And if anyone spoke up about it outside of international context, internationally monitored context, they would be hurt and worse. And they would be sent through their own because it was against the laws to be speaking about those things. So there's still the nature of free speech. They want to have free speech debates about what's debatable. The sequence shifts in the Ninth Circuit Court. The news has identity theft, fraud, slanders. They're also attaching little kids and their families to fake conversations with doctors, forging transcripts, foreign and domestic doctors. There are ones from Pakistan involved also at the corner of Southstein Highway and Town Line Drive. It has something to do with their roles planting evidences next to the campuses intercities with the names involved. including Trinity College. Next to Trinity College, Ray Cololo, Fred Grisey, and a Mark Violet have federal crimes with evidences with names in my area involved with the Wethersfield police, and next to their houses. In other words, next to schools, they're planting evidences to the same ones with the same house that has wire crimes with them. In other words, so you're supposed to not jump into people's conversations and lie about what you think their motives are, and get me off the fake conversations with WFSB. WFSB, these are named WFSB in Rocky Hill has roles with predicate acts with names next to me since I was a kid. And I caught them forcing a principal child abuser before he was caught with their news rolls with it. And with their stories. They're planting evidences with stories preemptively next to body dumping spots, next to all natures of crime scenes as collusions, the criminal insidiousness natures of positive treatment. See, there's a certain type of victim / hyper victim only allowed to speak for values, like economics, leaving out the breaching method. You guys are incapable of appreciating properly the predicate acts with facts delivery system method that nature itself demonstrates is one of the things that is true always. That history is about a predicate acts with facts delivery system method. Now, there is proofs that it wasn't always like this, and that religious messengers came about to leave us means to decipher this, because of all formal syntax nature and database tied relativity / relativities to ourselves are part with this breaching method that has the republic for which we stand, criminally foreign influence and tactically delusions wrought, and pretending other. And then they're, oh, that's your opinion. Fix the fake news. My opinions about those predicate acts and the World Trade Center. You guys can't afford the right answers. In other words, you can't have a legal election now. You have election spots as the same names involved with WFSB, WTNH. WTNH has roles planting evidences on corners of streets, on Main Street and all of Wethersfield with names tied to them, all and conjunctions to it, all along Route 175 connected to it through Newington, from Wethersfield through Newington and on off Connecticut, Central Connecticut State University, all sides of that campus. Has something to do with people planted evidences, all that. They try to take a picture next to you and then pretend you don't know, you're lying if you say you don't know people. That's what they do that consciously. It's recorded. But see, they prevent a quality of fact sheet nature in courts because they are used with their family members. A whole bunch of family members of courts and themselves, judges, more than 3 judges tied to the name Cololo involved with wire crimes with them. A whole bunch of connected, falsified police reports and fake conversations with me, with police, and with as a kid too, and as an adult, and with the news at the same time. And the kids who did go down to this police station and speak with them when I was a kid, it's recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed by themselves in other ways that they forced, tricked, hurt, and persuaded them to stick fake things in databases and to screen foreign names involved with those instances, and where they're keeping other things, others ourselves, blamed for the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures per a method that knew they would. In other words, they don't have integrity to speak for anything serious. Then they have to pretend it's about, because I don't want this person to be a candidate. I don't want that person to be a president. Get down. Follow mandated law, black pupils. Get Judge Napolitano, please, Judge Napolitano, who disbelieves. Get them to identify themselves properly. The Wethersfield police and the courts, they recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, switching names while they're stacking fake things in their databases. And they have wire crime acts and methods where they fabricate the phone conversations. These are increasingly people that force Saudis to collusions with them. And Wethersfield police recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed that Scaloras are one of the ones that did it. They have cousins that confessed roles with home break-ins with men and women when there were kids in my area associated with men and women with little kids with such. And then they're all putting fake things and hiding the foreign names involved. And increasingly they have roles with the same houses with untimely deaths and criminally foreign influence uses of them. Untimely deaths roles with a Rob Rodriguez are the same names on off Trinity College who had roles with that on my street. Rod Rodriguez didn't even, the only time I ever saw him on my street, he made confession. And the first time I didn't respond to his confession about roles with someone, he was walking with a woman. Then the next time he said she's dead from untimely death. Has something to do with his roles with all sides of a religious spot on Route 3. And names on all sides of it who have federal evidence as crimes with Rod Rodriguez and his roles with the intelligence community. Has something to do with the roles all along Griswold Street, all along roads and Route 3 goes right by the state judicial branch opposite. Whole bunch of names from other areas tied to the spots next to it, planting evidences. And we're like with Weathersfield Pizza next to the state judicial branch opposite. Their wire crime acts and methods roles with the Weathersfield police, fabricating phone transcripts and fake conversations as a means to pretend that people had conversations that never had a conversation. The closest I ever had to a conversation with a Stephen Stocko, I said, is Maria Pizzino there. And, in other words, he has something to do with his educators too. He's been sticking fake things in databases with a Paul Zano and a Ray Cololo also, who I recorded roles with people. I recorded planting evidences when I was a kid. You guys shouldn't have hid that from other campuses. Fred Gruzet, I never saw him around my neighbors in my life. He came from other areas, from another part of town to make confessions to me when I was a kid. And I recorded the truths of that. Has something to do with his roles with Ray Cololo, people with the name Cololo and Violet and Kolvinskis, with black, white, KKK, a black KKK themed, the Confederate flag themed, and criminal enterprises, including Los Salitos next to Trinity College, involved with wire crimes with Weathersfield police. And people that know my name, I don't know their name, on off the library of Weathersfield in spots next to it. Increasingly, Whiting Forensics has been planting evidences with people at schools I went to. And I have intercities, they make confessions with the same connected people because that's how they use bringing up a whole bunch of things at once and then pretending people don't make sense and changing and faking what people speak on a mass scale. It's self-valued by the masses of people because you guys came through 6 schools. You don't know how to think. So, in other words, focus on, if you deny that, focus on, in other words, fix the fake conversations about the World Trade Center attack with people that were in the conversation. I also noted WFSB from Connecticut has roles with names next to them associated with the name Scalora, DeMauro, and Kerr as ones involved with these corners of the streets planting evidences since they were kids. Fake ties, fake natures, and in other words, I never had a class with these people too. And the exceptions with Ray Cololo that were recorded, criminally foreign influence, put in my class to plant evidences with judges' family members. Fear God. Get them on paper, one name and sequence, please. Judge Napolitano, do what's right. Get me a response, because that's mandated law. I shouldn't have to beg for getting a response for the rest of the people involved then and now with the principal child defender and more with this Michael Emmett and leaders of the kids. In other words, if they don't want to be referred to this way, then get them on paper, because that's part of the reason they're child offenders. They're hiding and plotting in backgrounds. Further still, now get them on paper, one name and sequence. Let's go, please.